become a slave to the very thing you're chasing. That's why Islam teaches balance. It doesn't tell you to abandon the dunya completely and live with nothing, nor does it tell you to throw yourself into the pursuit of wealth at any cost. It tells you to earn in a halal, dignified way, to spend on what is necessary, to give in charity, to save with moderation, and most importantly, to keep your heart attached to Allah, not to the wealth. When you stop chasing money blindly, you start to see that Allah sometimes gives you less in wealth but more in peace. Or He gives you less income but more barakah in your time and effort so that you accomplish more with less. It's easy to confuse having more money with having a better life. But look around you. There are many people with high salaries and big houses, yet they live in constant worry. Their families are falling apart and they feel no real happiness. And then there are others who earn modestly, but their homes are filled with love, their hearts are at peace, and their lives feel full. This is why the Prophet, in peace be upon him, reminded us, look at those who have less than you, and do not look at those who have more, lest you belittle the blessings Allah has bestowed upon you. When you stop constantly comparing yourself to others and chasing what they have, you start appreciating what you already have. And that gratitude brings even more blessings into your life. Another important point is that the rizq Allah sends to you is not always what you expect and not always what you want. Sometimes He withholds wealth because He knows it will harm you. Sometimes He gives you a test of hardship so that you turn back to Him and strengthen your faith. And sometimes He gives you wealth and ease. But He watches to see how you use it, whether it brings you closer to Him or makes you arrogant and careless. So don't think that just because you don't have as much as someone else, Allah has forgotten you. And don't think that just because you're working hard but seeing no immediate result, Allah is not helping you. He may be delaying something to teach you patience, or He may be preparing something better than you can imagine. Remember also that rizq is not just what enters your pocket, it's also what you're spared from. When Allah protects you from harm, saves you from bad deals, or removes toxic people from your life, that too is provision. You may not see it now, but later you will realize how much He was looking out for you all along. This is why you need to let go of that desperate, impatient chase. Do your part plan, work hard and make an effort, but do it with the right intention and in the right way. Stop believing that wealth is the only measure of success. Stop believing that the more you chase, the more you'll get. Instead, believe in the promise of Allah. When you fear Him, stay within His limits and trust Him fully. He will send you provision from where you never expected. One of the greatest mistakes we can make is to believe that we control everything. We think that if we just try harder, stay up later, hustle more than everyone else, we can force life to give us what we want. But life doesn't work that way. And wealth that comes at the expense of your peace, your family and your faith is not worth it because it comes without blessing. True wealth is not just about how much you earn. It's about living a life of purpose, gratitude and balance. It's about knowing when enough is enough. It's about giving as much as you take, helping others, and leaving behind something meaningful. And when you live this way, prioritizing your obligations to Allah, taking care of your family, staying honest in your dealings, and being grateful for what you have, you will see how Allah brings wealth to you. Sometimes in ways you expected, and sometimes in ways you never imagined. You don't have to compromise your values, you don't have to destroy yourself to earn what is already written for you. You just have to walk the straight path and trust that Allah will deliver your rizq to you in the right time, the right way, and in the right amount. And in that moment when you stop chasing and you start trusting, you'll discover a deeper kind of peace and a more meaningful kind of wealth than money could ever buy. Now that we understand the importance of letting go of this endless unhealthy chase and trusting that Allah will send you your sustenance, the next question is, what can we actually do to bring barakah into our earnings and our lives? How do we work, earn, and live in a way that pleases Allah and benefits us in this world and the next? Let me share with you some practical steps. 1. Start with the right intention. Before you even begin working or pursuing wealth, ask yourself, why am I doing this? If your only goal is to compete with others, to show off, or to indulge your ego, then don't expect peace or barakah in it. But if your intention is to earn a halal living, to take care of yourself and your family, to give in charity, and to avoid becoming dependent on others, then your work itself becomes an act of worship. 2. Always stay within halal. This is non-negotiable. Do not let desperation or greed push you into haram sources of income. Interest-based dealings, dishonest business practices, selling what Allah has forbidden, cheating, bribery, these may seem profitable at first, but they destroy barakah and invite Allah's displeasure. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, any flesh that grows from haram earnings, the fire is more deserving of it. So no matter how tempting it may seem, stay firm on what is halal, even if it feels slower. You will see Allah's help come to you. 3. Be honest in your dealings. One of the quickest ways to bring barakah into your wealth is honesty. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, the honest and trustworthy merchant will be with the prophets, the truthful and the martyrs on the day of judgment. Never cheat, never lie, never mislead customers, even if it seems like you might lose a sale. Allah is the one providing for you, not your tactics. Seri 4. Pray on time and make dua. Do not sacrifice your salah for the sake of your job. Do not skip your prayers because of work. Instead, put Allah first and you will see how He takes care of your work and your rizq. After all, He is the one who controls your provision, not your employer or client. And make dua, constantly ask Allah for halal, blessed rizq. The Prophet ﷺ, peace be upon him, used to say, O Allah, suffice me with what you have made lawful, so that I may avoid what you have made unlawful, and enrich me by your grace, so that I need not depend on anyone else. 5. Be grateful for what you have. Gratitude is a magnet for blessings. The Quran says, if you are grateful, I will surely increase you in favor. Surah Ibrahim 14:7. When you focus on what you already have and thank Allah for it, He gives you more. Gratitude also keeps you humble and content even when you see others with more. 6. Give charity even if you have little. This might seem strange. How can giving money bring you more? But the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, charity does not decrease wealth. When you give sincerely for the sake of Allah, He replaces it with something better. Giving purifies your wealth and brings blessings you cannot see. 7. Keep good ties with family. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, whoever would like his provision to be increased and his life to be extended should uphold the ties of kinship. Sometimes we forget that fighting with family or cutting ties can actually block blessings from reaching us. So make an effort to reconcile and maintain these relationships. 8. Live simply and avoid waste. Barakah is not just about how much you earn, it's also about how you use it. Many people earn a lot but spend it all carelessly, leaving nothing behind. Be moderate in your lifestyle. Avoid extravagance and show-off spending. Use your wealth wisely to fulfill your needs, help others, and save for the future. 9. Have tawakkul. Trust in Allah's plan. Even after doing everything right, working, striving, giving, praying, you might still feel like you're earning less than others. Don't let that make you hopeless. Tawakkul means doing your best and then leaving the outcome to Allah. Trust that what is meant for you will find its way to you. These are simple steps, but they are powerful. When you live and earn this way, you may not always see immediate results, but you will feel peace in your heart. You will sleep better at night, and you will see blessings appearing in your life in ways you never expected. Remember, wealth is not just about numbers, it's about blessings, it's about contentment, it's about using what you have in a way that pleases Allah and benefits others. So keep working, keep praying, keep trusting, and leave the rest to Him. He never disappoints those who rely on Him sincerely. It's also important to remind yourself, as you take these steps, that bringing barakah into your wealth is not something that happens overnight. Just like a seed planted in the ground, it takes time, patience, and consistent care before you see the results. Too many people become impatient and give up when they don't see immediate success. But remember, Allah's timing is always perfect. Sometimes He delays what you're asking for because He knows the right moment to give it to you. Sometimes He withholds what you want because He knows it is not good for you. And sometimes He replaces what you thought you needed with something even better than what you could have planned. So don't measure your success by what others have. Your test is not their test. Your risk is not their risk. Each of us is on our own path, and each of us has our own share that will reach us in due time. One of the most beautiful things about living with barakah is that it frees you from the constant feeling of pressure. You stop living with the fear of missing out because you know nothing written for you can pass you by. You stop competing with everyone around you because you trust that Allah's plan for you is unique. You also begin to feel more content with less. You start noticing the little blessings you used to ignore: a peaceful home, a healthy body, food on your table, people who care about you, the ability to sleep at night without worry. These are all part of your risk, and they are often far more valuable than money. It's also worth mentioning that sometimes your risk comes in ways that you never even thought to ask for. It could be a stranger who helps you at the right time. It could be a new skill Allah helps you learn that opens doors you didn't expect. It could be a test that feels hard at first but brings you closer to Him and earns you reward in the hereafter. This is why it is so important to live your life with an open heart, accepting what Allah gives you, working with what He provides you, and being grateful for whatever comes your way. You also need to understand that rizq is not just about what enters your hands, but also about what stays with you and benefits you. There are people who earn a lot of money, but it goes as quickly as it comes. They spend recklessly, fall into debts, and live with constant anxiety. That is not rizq with barakah. And then there are those who earn modestly, yet their wealth seems to stretch, their needs are met, and they still have enough to give to others. That is the blessing of barakah. Another important point to keep in mind is how you react when you are tested with less. It is easy to be grateful when money is flowing and everything is going well, but true faith shows when things become tight. If you can remain patient, continue to earn halal, avoid falling into haram, and keep trusting Allah even when you feel like you don't have enough, then you are showing the kind of reliance on Him that He loves. And often that patience and trust is what opens the doors of abundance for you later on. So keep checking your heart. Make sure that money stays in your hands and does not enter your heart. Make sure your love for wealth never becomes greater than your love for Allah. Because no matter how much you earn, if your heart is attached to this world alone, you will always feel poor. And no matter how little you earn, if your heart is attached to Allah, you will always feel rich. At the end of the day, true wealth is not measured in numbers. It is measured in peace, gratitude, and contentment. It is measured in how much good you are able to do with what you have. It is measured in how close it brings you to Allah. So my brothers and sisters, as you strive in your life, remember this balance. Work as though you will live forever, but worship as though you could die tomorrow. Strive for excellence in your job, your business, your trade, but keep your faith, your family, your dignity, and your peace intact. When you stop chasing money in a way that makes you forget Allah, you'll find that money begins to come to you in the right way, at the right time, with the right blessings, because it was never your job to chase the rizq in desperation. It was always your job to chase the pleasure of the one who provides it. And when you do that, everything else falls into place. Another thing to reflect on is how the constant chase for wealth often blinds people to their real purpose in life. You were not created just to work, earn, pay bills, and accumulate possessions until you die. You were created to worship Allah, to serve others, to leave the world a little better than you found it. Money is simply a tool to help you fulfill those purposes, nothing more. But when people make money their ultimate goal, it starts to consume their whole identity. They feel their value depends entirely on how much they earn, what car they drive, how big their house is, how much they can spend. And this is a dangerous mindset, because it means that when money is low, their self-worth crashes. They start feeling as if they are nothing. But the truth is, your worth does not depend on your wealth. Your worth depends on your character, your faith, and how you treat others. Even the poorest person can be among the most honorable in the sight of Allah. It is worth reminding ourselves that the Prophet, peace be upon him, and many of the greatest companions lived very simple lives. Some barely had enough to eat some days. Yet they were the most beloved to Allah and the most successful human beings to ever walk the earth. One of the lessons from their lives is this: true success is not about how much you own.